I should just stand back and watch these young bucks move gravel, but I just can't. I can't find it in my heart to do it. So I touched just about every yard. I was the one shoveling it off the trailer into the wheelbarrows. And even today, I'm not sure if I can raise my arm much higher than that.
Was it a tilt bed trailer?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. It was flat, and we had 3 wheelbarrows, and if one of them got sassy, I filled the wheelbarrow up to where they couldn't hardly move it, and just kind of grinned.
Teach them a lesson.
I didn't even have to say anything.
Yeah.
But I do have to admit that this arm, that's about as high as it's going to go today. It's just a little stiff still.
Is that the one you were resting on the shelf? In between scoops?
I'm not a state worker.
What is engage?
Engage can be simply described as this. Matthew 9:38. Jesus coming into Jerusalem, he looks at all the lost people, and he says they're broken, they're bruised, they're beat up, they're messed up people. And his response wasn't, let's heal them all. His response wasn't, let's provide food for them. His response was to his disciples, he says, pray and ask God to send workers. Workers, laborers. What do you need to affect the world? We need more people to say yes to Jesus, to say, I'll go. I'll make that happen. And that's what we created in Engage, is this opportunity for a student to say, yeah, Jesus, you get the first year of my adult life. When you see, the number varies from 60 to 80% of young people in evangelical churches graduate from high school and walk away from the kingdom. I think a big part of that, especially with Gen Z, Gen Alpha, millennials were the start of it, just hungry for a cause, something to sink their teeth into. And Jesus is the best cause out there. You know what's better than all the other causes listed that you hear portrayed in the news? Jesus solves all of the problems that people face, whether it's racism, whether it's all the things. List the news, Jesus is the answer. So if we had a movement of young people to stand up and say, I don't know if I'm called to be a missionary or a pastor. I'm just not there yet. I'm 18, I think maybe, I don't know. But I might be a great accountant, or I might be a great school teacher, or whatever, truck driver. But why not say, first and foremost, Jesus, you get the first year of my adult life. Let's go. Have you ever wondered why there was not a 56-year-old disciple? Why didn't he call Brandon to follow him?
Probably be dead back then.
Well, however, because 56, you would have been dead because they were dying like at 50. But my point is, there weren't old guys. He didn't pick old guys. He picked these young guys. Most of them hadn't had a rabbi to follow, so they were going to follow Jesus. And he said, come follow me. Let's go change the world.
I think it's going to challenge. It's got to be a challenge. It has to be a challenge to every pastor. If, what'd you say, 70%, 80%, 90% of students that are growing up in church are walking away when they graduate, what are we doing in the church? What are we doing in our churches? What are we doing in our homes? What are we doing that is making it less desirable? I understand the forbidden fruit. I understand wanting to spread our wings and figure out who we are. I played that. I get it. But maybe we really need to look at what is it that we're doing that is not so exciting for students that they want to stick around.
Okay, so open this can of worms, just pop it for a second.
Okay, you got like 30 seconds.
What happens, why is it that the church and us, we justify lifestyles that are not pointed towards Jesus? And I'm only meaning this, I'm not critical. I am critical, but I don't know how to say it correctly. Because why is it that it's more appealing for a student to be part of a football, baseball, basketball team, or a drama team, or a band, because that's more exciting and more fun? What if the church created pathways for students to go, I'm all in, and this is what I'm all about? but we don't do that. We go, no, it's okay, make this your priority, but it becomes a god, and then we can't get them to. It's a lifestyle commitment, and Jesus calls us to be lifestyle people, and I don't think we're supposed to have things that overdo.
Right.
Yeah. So that is a slippery slope, and I've just made a ton of people mad, and now you're going to get kicked out of your church because you're on the porch with me. But
there's, think about it. There was something about Jesus, our role model. Mm-hmm. There was something about him that the down and outs, the tax collectors, the prostitutes, the criminals, the crooks, the thieves, the liars, the cheats, something about him that they loved and they wanted to be around.
Yeah.
The world wanted to be around him.
Yep.
The church did not.
Yeah.
The established religious elite did not. And so you said we're doing something wrong. Well, maybe we're not looking as much like Jesus as we could or should.
I lean that direction. I'm going, man, I just think of the despair. Somebody just told me that yesterday or day before, one of the top 50 golfers in the world walked off the course and committed suicide.
Oh, I hadn't heard it was suicide, but I heard.
I heard suicide, and so don't quote me, but that's what I was told. And I just think, man, you would look at that person and think, he's got everything. Mm-hmm. He's top 50. That means he's making money. He's playing golf for a living.
He's almost in sports. He's playing golf. So.
It's almost sport, but it's one of the sports that would drive. I might commit suicide. No, I shouldn't say that. But golf is one of those. Give me a bike or something any day. The best place to ride a quad or a bike would be on a golf course, wouldn't it? Every time I'm on a golf course, I'm just going, give me a quad. This would be so much fun. The grass would be slick. The sand dunes you could come out of. It'd be great.
Let's talk about Steve a little bit. Where'd you grow up?
Spokane, Washington.
You grew up in the Northwest?
I grew up on a farm south of Spokane.
Okay, what kind of a farm?
Just a small hobby farm. It was, we had cows and pigs. I milked a cow every morning and, that kind of stuff. But it wasn't, Dad was a truck driver, so that's what made the living for the farm.
So at what point, was it early in life, late in life? At what point in your life did you realize God had set you apart for ministry and then missions?
Well, long story short, love Jesus all my life. I tell people that I've been in church every day of my life because I was less than 6 days old when I attended my first church service, and I don't remember ever not loving Jesus. That doesn't mean that I didn't have my hiccups or anything where, that...
You weren't perfect?
I wasn't perfect, and I had... I had my moments.
You're not going to start a rumor that God will use imperfect people.
Yeah, he probably, if I'm here, I'm not you, so I am not the perfect model. But I grew up wanting to be a truck driver. I've told so many people this. That was what I was going to be. I was going to be a Christian truck driver. Dad involved in a horrible truck wreck, crippled the rest of his life. A friend came to me in the hospital, said, well, that could have been you. That's what I was doing. I was 19, driving trucks. And he goes, could have been you. You should go to college. I had graduated high school with my 1.2 GPA. 1.2 GPA. Flunked English 4 years in a row.
Possible to graduate with a 1.2?
I have a diploma.
Effort into that?
I got A's in shop class, history, and PE. Those were the only redeeming.
They're really important.
English, I flunked all 4 years in a row, and those were just a waste of time. But it came back to bite me when I tried to learn Spanish, and they want to talk about verbs, nouns, and pronouns. I'm going, I didn't know what they were in English, let alone what they were in Spanish. Friend brings me the application to Northwest, and back then they weren't quite as picky maybe as they are today.
You're the reason why they're picky.
I could pay the bill, and they said, yes, let's go, and I had to take English, 79, 89, 99, all that kind of stuff to bring my grades back up. But it was there that at Redmond Assembly with Pastor Dick Strum, he asked me and his son to be his junior high youth pastor. And so we started a group over there, 5 students, which I always I brag on this because I just think it's one of the coolest things. In that group were Steve and Amy Bolin, who are the executive pastors at Cedar Park, Scott Harris, who is the lead pastor at Brook Lake, Jenny Love, who is, it's Jenny Wilkie, so she's married to one of the Wilkie boys. Of the 5, 4 are full-time ministers. My first experience with leading a church, because Kevin Strum lasted about 3 months, and he goes, yeah, I don't do students. Students aren't my thing. But it really appealed to me. I enjoyed it, and it was fun, and it just sort of began to be one of those things. And I'm praying for some junior high kids at the altar, and I hear God, talk to me, going, this is what you need to do with your life. And so I went back to Northwest, got my degree in youth ministry, and went to Spokane with Jack Bailey and became a youth pastor. He couldn't afford to pay me. The church had just split. We had 31 people. And I said, I'm going to be a youth pastor. I don't want to be a youth worker, youth volunteer. I want to be your youth pastor 40 hours a week. I can't pay you. And I go, great. So for the first 3 years of working at Southside Assembly in Spokane, they didn't pay me anything. And I would sell used cars out of the parking lot. How could you not buy a car from a pastor?
Your eulogy. How do you want to be remembered? Not that we're thinking you're going to die anytime soon, but how would you like to be remembered?
Well done, good and faithful servant.
I like it.
I don't want anything but that. I want to do. Yeah, I'd like Jesus to go. Obviously, when we're standing in line, I want to be like 5 people in front of you, so that when Jesus sees you, he's going to go, get out of the way, here comes Brandon, I want Brandon. And so he's just going to let me in on that, just to get to you, and I'm okay with that. Whatever it takes, I'm in,
I'm thinking you want to be ahead of me so I can get a taste of what eternity's going to feel like. It's forever to get in this line.
Well, we'll have a lot to talk about.
Steve, thanks for coming to the porch. I appreciate your time. Appreciate you driving over.
Yeah,
and really
it was great.
Everything that you're doing for these
I love what you're
students
doing in
and
Mountain View.